If your kids are anything like mine, they've changed their mind 15 times about what they want to be for Halloween. Today, I am sharing everything I've learned about transforming Halloween from a one-night stress fest into a full season of memorable moments. Let's get to it. All right, so let's start with costumes, or more accurately, characters. A great costume lets your kid become their favorite character. No one says, I want to wear a skin-tight, full-body onesie that covers my face for Halloween. They say, I want to be Spider-Man. So here's what you need to know. Comfort is king. The best costumes are the ones they never want to take off. Tip number 1 is match the costume to the expected weather. If you live where it's cold, do not, and I mean do not, throw a parka over your child's costume. It's not a good look, Mom. Not a good look. Put layers under their costume rather than putting a big, heavy winter coat over the top of their costume. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about what size costume to purchase for your kid. Now, on the flip side of that, if you live where it's hot, remember that kids are going to be moving as they are working for their candy. You don't want to start out in a costume that is quickly going to become too warm for them and they're going to want to take it off. Tip 2, evaluate the impeding obstacles. Your kids will be working hard, and that means they're going to want to use their hands. So think twice about a costume that covers their hands and doesn't have a slit for them to be able to slip their hands out, grab the piece of candy that they specifically want, and then they can get back into costume as they run to the next house. Another impeding obstacle is inflatables. So these things are adorable, but if you think about what the realities are of a inflatable costume, they are more likely to get caught on trees or even caught on fire. One of our Halloween trick-or-treat crew last year had this adorable dinosaur inflatable costume with a long tail that went behind him. And we were at a house party down the street that happened to have a fire pit, and his tail came dangerously close to the open flame. So think twice about inflatable costumes. Think about how they have to move in and out of other kids as they approach the doors. And also make sure that if you're going to any of these block parties, house parties type situations, that they're not going to be impeded in any way or put in a situation that might be unsafe, because we don't need any real horror stories for Halloween. All right, up next, consider wearing different costumes for different events. Now, before you click off this video, hear me out. I'm not asking you to break the bank, okay? We are talking about repurposing costumes in just a minute. But first, it's absolutely critical that you understand this. Trick-or-treating is a sport. Trunk-or-treating is a party. And costume parades are a fashion show. So tailor your costumes to meet the event that they are going to be going to. So let's go back to trick-or-treating as a sport. Props will be fun to carry for about 5 houses, and then you're going to be the one holding the sword. Many inflatables will also be too cumbersome to navigate with multiple kids coming to and from entryways, which means you're going to be left carrying that adorable inflatable costume too. And if you're carrying their costume, that means you also get to carry that uncomfortable feeling of your child going up to a house begging people for candy without even a costume on. Don't do it. It's not a good look. So trunk-or-treating. Trunk-or-treating is a great event. You basically go and you trick-or-treat at these decorated trunks of several people's cars, usually at a church or a school. And this is a great middle ground. So this is where the event is short enough and the distance between trick-or-treating spots is close enough that kids don't tend to be super uncomfortable, even if their costume isn't the most comfortable costume. So you can kind of find the middle ground here. So when we talk about trick-or-treating as a sport, that thing better be able to move with them and be something they don't want to take off. Trunk-or-treating as a party, they can probably get away with an hour, hour and a half of being uncomfortable without too much fussing. Remember, trunk-or-treating often runs out of candy, so go early to find good parking and beat the crowds and prevent having disappointed kids. That brings us to costume parades. So again, costume parades are a fashion show. This is where you can go all out. You can have all of the scratchy wigs and all of the uncomfortable accessories and all of the heavy props or bulky props. That is where this comes in. You're usually going to be in the costume for maybe 10, 15 minutes as you do the parade. You get some adorable pictures with their friends, and then they're done with it. They can take it off and run around and be a kid. That is the way to approach if you have a really exciting but uncomfortable costume. Wear it to a costume parade, because that is your fashion show. And then that brings us to school dress up days. So school dress up days remind me a little bit of a corporate dress code. They're mostly adhered to, but if you color too far outside the lines, you could get in trouble. So these tend to have the most regulations about what is considered acceptable. And so the way I like to go with these is, especially for younger kids, to look at pajama-based costumes. So these are something that can be easily worn all day. They stand up to all kinds of play, and kids still get to become their character. And as a bonus, you get an extra set of jammies that you can use throughout the whole fall season. For costumes that are not pajamas, make sure to send some backup clothes with your child so that they can change at school if they get uncomfortable. And also send along a way for them to transport the costume back home, particularly if there are fragile pieces that otherwise you will be picking shards of out of their backpack. All right, parents, it is time to let your inner child come out and play. You should absolutely dress up too. And this is a blast because your kids will absolutely lose it when they see you in costume. And I mean that in the best way, not in the eye-rolling way. And if for some reason they do roll their eyes, own your holiday spirit and know you look good, because this shows that you don't care so much about what other people think. And that is a great skill that we all need to build, and is a great way to start modeling this for your kids. It gives them permission and confidence to do the same, which later in life will help them combat peer pressure. Your costume doesn't have to be elaborate, but a little creativity or even borrowing a prop from your kids' costume collection can really go a long way. And not only in the costume department, but also in your relationship with your child. If you want to take it one step further, then go ahead and coordinate with your kids or create a family or group theme that you all can work on together. This is great because you are generally also going to be stepping into their world of interests, and this creates a really strong connection with your child. This also requires more planning, and so the kids will really enjoy the process of deciding on a theme and gathering or purchasing or even making the items that are needed to create that costume and bring that vision to life. It can also help boost confidence in older kids who may still be a little shy about dressing up. Letting your holiday spirit run free is the best way to let your children know that they are never too old to have fun. Plus, the photos are infinitely better when everybody's in costume. And if it's a theme, you get a really cool outcome from it. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about shared creativity and creating bonding time as a family. If someone doesn't get it, that is their problem, not yours. Your people, the ones you should really care about, will get it because it's you fully being you, and that is a beautiful thing. Next, we're going to talk about building a story through repurposing. So as I mentioned before, you do not have to spend an arm and a leg, pun intended, when you are getting ready for Halloween. So even if you're doing multiple costumes, do not go out and spend hundreds of dollars on this endeavor. This is something that you can definitely do on a budget. The trick is to create your costumes in full or in part from what you already own. So you can repurpose costumes even by taking parts of past costumes that are maybe too small or where parts of them are worn out and using aspects of those in a new design. You can create a lot of different things, from t-shirts at Michael's with some markers and some colored tape and maybe some cardboard from all those leftover Amazon boxes that you haven't broken down yet. Yep, I see you. Pro tip, if you don't need to cut the t-shirt to make the costume that you're trying to make, consider taking one that your kids already have and turning it inside out to remove the lettering that's on the outside. That will make it look like a solid color in most cases and save you some money on having to buy individual t-shirts. And I have to give props to my kids for that one because they came up with that idea. Also look at other items that are in your recycling. One year I even made a Harley Quinn hammer out of a coffee can, some electrical tape, and a stick. The only limit is your imagination and maybe the number of restricted AI searches you can do on Claude in a day. Thrift shopping is another great way to create costumes without breaking the bank. So many thrift stores like Goodwill will have numerous Halloween costumes that they set out as the big day approaches. Don't forget to also look at other areas of the thrift store too, though, because you never know what you might find that you can repurpose to make a really cool aspect of your costume. Consider setting aside a small budget for any specialty items that do get purchased from a Halloween shop like Spirit Halloween. Look for unique or hard to recreate pieces that can really complement the handmade aspects of the costume. Building your Halloween theme and story through repurposing is not only practical, but it teaches creativity, problem solving, and even a little bit of financial responsibility. So use this as a way to guide your kids and teach them a little bit more about some life skills to be aware of. Plus, I don't know if you've noticed, but a great handmade costume often gets way more positive comments than those generic ones that you buy at Spirit Halloween. If you need inspiration, check out Pinterest or Google Images using keywords that relate to the character, or even more general terms like upcycled Halloween costumes. You'll get a lot of really good ideas and inspiration from that. You also want to think about the lifetime value of any given costume. Think about how strongly your child associates with this particular character, and consider if this is just a fleeting interest or if this character has already stood the test of time and is something that they are likely to continue to want to dress up as even when they're playing. Think about how many times and places would this costume be worn? Will they wear it for dress up or play? Is it something that they could wear to something like Comic-Con if you guys like to explore things like that? And maybe you can also just buy it a little bit too big so that they have it still as an option for the next year or two to come.
You are so loved. You are enough.
And you got this.